when it's died. So like I have seen a lot of people have a lot of different takes about Spider-Man. And I think this shit is really interesting because I feel like there's two sides of it on the internet, right? So obviously you have the people that are acting like Spider-Man 2 was trash and that like they didn't like Spider-Man 2 or that Spider-Man 2 is a mediocre game or whatever. You have those people that came out the woodworks or whatever because, you know, it got swept at the Game Awards, it didn't win shit, blah, 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 whatever. First of all, a game not winning anything at the Game Awards doesn't mean anything. Like, who gives a shit if a game didn't win a Game Award? Did you like the game or not? Like, that's all that matters. So, like, if you like the game, then who cares if it didn't win any Game Awards? But anyways, so yes, it was nominated for 7 categories and it didn't win a single one, okay? And people are acting like the game is ass. Okay, the game is not ass. It was very good. I very much enjoyed myself playing that game, and I thought it was much better than the first Spider-Man game for PS4, a game that I thought was incredibly mediocre. See, the energy that a lot of people are having for Spider-Man 2 really is the energy they should have had for the original Spider-Man, in my opinion. But then there's the other group of individuals out there, the Spidey sexuals. I'm talking directly to you, the Spidey sexuals. If you are a Spidey sexual, my boy, you need to check into a mental institution, because I'm going to be so for real. I've said this, you know, since the Game Awards. There's not a single category that Spider-Man should have won. Period. 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 I see a lot of people talking about the best performance of the year. Okay? And truthfully speaking, no. Even if Baldur's Gate 3 did not come out, Ben Starr clears. Like, it's just... The thing is, if you didn't play FF16, then I get why you might feel a different way about it. But like, you can't really have an opinion on something unless you played the games involved, right? So like, for example, when Alan Wake 2 won a lot of awards, like I couldn't really say shit because I didn't beat Alan Wake 2 yet. Like that game could really be that gas. Who the fuck am I to say no? I ain't played it. How could I hate when I ain't played it? You feel me? I've seen a lot of people hating on Alan Wake 2. Like, bro, play the fucking game. Judge it for yourself. But nah, because y'all only playing shit like Spider-Man 2. Like Spider-Man 2, like the Spider-Man series in general, like while it is good, like to me, it's just like a lesser version of the Batman games. Like, I'm gonna be so honest with you, bro. Like, and that's how I always see those games. That's why it's hard for me to give those games like the credit they deserve, because they're literally just worse versions of a game that came before it, personally. I would agree with what Scoob said. The only category Baldur's Gate 3 did not deserve to win was multiplayer. I've talked about that a bunch. We could talk about that another time or something like that. But that one should have really not gone to Baldur's Gate 3. But whatever. This is about Spider-Man anyways. This is about Spider-Man anyways. This is about Spider-Man anyways. So, of course, there's a bunch of people saying that, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 did not deserve the awards it got, blah, blah. Yes, it did. Okay, look. I get it. You want to be a contrarian. You want to stick up for your favorite game, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't matter, because Baldur's Gate 3 really is that generational type of game. Like, Baldur's Gate 3, like, really is, like, is that gas. You feel me? And Spider-Man 2 just isn't. It's not on that level. Like, Spider-Man 2 is a good game. You know, it deserved the nominations it got, but in no way did it deserve any of those. People talking about the performance, that was Ben Starr's award, in my personal opinion. But like I said, I can't really judge too much because Balvin killed Astarion in our Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. So I didn't even get to see Astarion and how good of a character like Astarion would become. So like, I can't really say. The only thing I can say is that to me, Ben Starr is like, was one of my favorite vocal performances in a video game character ever. Probably my favorite of all time, to be truthfully honest. Say what you will about Final Fantasy 16 as a game, but that performance was crazy. And this is one thing I hate about like the current landscape of like gaming or whatever, is that the narratives like take over all. In no way am I saying FF16 was like game of the year or whatever, or it deserved to win all these other categories or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of performance, that was Ben Starr. Like that, I mean, if it was Ben Starr versus Yuri, okay, obviously Astarion, he deserved that award, but Ben Starr versus Yuri, Ben Starr cleared. I played both of those games to completion. I can speak on this. Ben Starr cleared, all right? And then the other category that people really thought there's actually two categories people thought Spider-Man was going to win. One was best narrative, which no. No. First of all, Alan Wake 2 did deserve that category because I've played like a few hours of Alan Wake 2, and just the way that game tells its narrative is so creative and interesting and unique. Like I said it when I was watching the Game Awards, like that was a lock. Like it was gonna win best narrative. Like and it deserved to. Spider-Man 2 not winning best narrative. Be so for real. Like what is going on? Like what is going on? Too much salt. Thank you for the 17 months. But furthermore, the other category that Spider-Man 2 fans really wanted Spider-Man 2 to win was action adventure. My brother in Christ, Tears of the Kingdom was the other nomination. It was never gonna win. like I'm sorry. My brother in Christ. First of all, the reason I think a lot of Spider-Man fans don't understand why Zelda won that, because they see action adventure and they're like, whoa, you're swinging around and you're punching guys. Like that's action and that's adventure. How does Spider-Man not win? And it's like, bro, first of all, Tears of the Kingdom, the way that you interact with the world, it does give you that sense of adventure. And of course, you know, Zelda has its own combat system and all that shit for the action-based shit. And I truthfully feel like once you get into like the harder aspects of Zelda, like for example, the Breath of the Wild DLC, where it got a lot harder, it shows you a lot more of what that combat system is like. But regardless, that adventure aspect is, I think, the biggest reason why Zelda took that, because it truthfully is the most adventurous feeling game ever. You feel me? Whereas like you're running around in Spider-Man or whatever the fuck, and like, bruh, like you running around like a haphazard ass New York, like, bruh, congratulations, like it is what it is. And it feels crazy to say this because like now I gotta talk shit about a game I like. See, this is one thing that I hate, man. I hate when I like something, when I'm a fan of something, but then I gotta start talking shit about something I like because like motherfuckers is coming out their ass saying crazy shit. You feel me? Motherfuckers coming out their ass saying crazy shit. So now I gotta humble Spider-Man fans. Because it's like, look, y'all had me on your side with this one. Yeah, I said it. I said, yo, Spidey sexuals, y'all overly gas everything in your franchise, but there's two instances where that gas was justified. The Spider-Verse movies and Spider-Man 2. Everything else, you niggas is crazy. The Spider-Man franchise sucks dick. But them two, y'all had it. Y'all had it, but now you're showing your ass. Now you're trying to downplay one of the best, you know, original games ever made type shit. I also saw a comment of somebody saying like, oh, like, actually, this was on my video, actually. I'm pretty sure. I forgot which video it was on, but it's on the OmegaPro Plus channel somewhere. But somebody was like, oh, like, Baldur's Gate 3 really didn't deserve to win because all it is like a D&D game. Like, it's just taking everything from D&D and putting it into a game. And it's like, the Spider-Man game is just taking Spider-Man things and putting it into a game. So under that same logic, could you not levy that same criticism towards Spider-Man 2? Like that kind of make no sense. And secondly, it's not really taking things from D&D itself. It's taking like the world and the lore from D&D. But do you guys understand like how hard it is to adapt something like D&D? Like D&D is not really adaptable in a sense because like literally anything you want to happen can happen. You feel me? Like there's no like laws or like rules that are like universal in D&D. Like you can dead ass do anything you want to in D&D. You feel me? So it's not like just a binary like, oh shit, like, you know, there Asterion is in the Dungeons and like, bro, that's not how that works. If anything, you could say that Spider-Man is way more derivative of its source material than Baldur's Gate is of D&D. You feel me? Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Look, man. Spidey fans, sit down. Look, I know it's been a hard week for you guys. But like, come on, y'all sold like how many copies of your game? Your game is critically acclaimed. You love your game. But let's not front. Not even a new game plus on launch. Like, what are we doing? Not even a new game plus on launch. Like, what is we doing? Also, I'm gonna go ahead and say this too. Baldur's Gate came out before Spider-Man 2 did, right? And people still talking about Baldur's Gate 3, still having Baldur's Gate discussions now. Spider-Man conversation is dead. And you want to know why? I don't even think this is necessarily a Spider-Man issue. I feel this way about every Sony game, even the ones that I really love, like God of War. You feel me? Sony games have this thing of like being really good like the moment you play them, but then having like almost no lasting impact. You feel me? Or like not, in some instances, not even being very replayable. God of War is probably the one that has the most replayability and the most impact. But like Spider-Man like comes out and like nobody gonna talk about Spider-Man again until there's like some DLC for it or whatever, you know? But Baldur's Gate 3 will be having conversations about it forever because it's just that level of game, you know? And that's not even to say Spider-Man 2 is bad for it, you feel me? A lot of games can't have the sort of conversation or the legacy around it that Baldur's Gate does. And that's exactly why Baldur's Gate deserved everything that it got at the Game Awards, because it is that game. You know, there's nothing wrong with not being that guy. You feel me? Because there can only be one that guy. There can only be one. But I feel like a lot of those Sony games really lean towards having a very good like first experience with the game, but then a lot of the other experiences after it, they don't really hit the same, you know? And, you know, that's fine for that type of game, but to me, like that formula is kind of getting stale because we've been seeing it since like the PS3 era, right? Like I would say like stuff with like The Last of Us or whatever, like that's when we really start to see it of like, okay, like this game was really good like the first time I played it, but why would I ever play that shit again? You know what I'm saying? Like why the fuck, like after I beat Spider-Man 2, why would I play that shit again? Like not even having a new game plus at launch is like actually crazy to me. Like there's nothing you can tell me that could convince me that that is so difficult to implement that could not have been there at launch. Like New Game Plus has been like the most basic video game feature of all time since the beginning of time type shit. And it's just really fucking annoying to have these developers like charge us $70 for these games and start giving us less features. Like this is fucking stupid. But guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna release New Game Plus and they're gonna release some random bullshit that should have been in the game to begin with. And then people are gonna be like, oh, like, hooray, like, thank God Insomniac, this is so dope, like, this is so great, or whatever. It should have been there, man. It should have been there. It should have been there. It should have been there. You feel me? And if we talk, since we talking about that, let's go ahead and talk about, like, Insomniac versus Larian in terms of how they supported their game. Since the game has been out, granted, Larian probably has a lot more leeway because, you know, they don't have Sony fucking lurking over their heads, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and whereas Insomniac does, but they have constantly added new content and updated their game for all of the, you know, issues that people have had with it. Larian has been tending to those issues. Nothing from Insomniac, and you want to know why? Is because PlayStation like is trying to monetize everything, bro. Like they're gonna wait a couple months once the hype for Spider-Man 2 dies down a little bit, and then they're gonna strategically launch their New Game Plus to bring back hype for Spider-Man, get people playing Spider-Man again. Then it's gonna die down again, and then they're gonna say, "Oh shit, now we got this Venom DLC or this Venom playable endless mode or whatever that they're gonna do." And that's just what they're gonna do, and it sucks because like, look at what God of War Ragnarok did. You know what I'm saying? Like, they went silent after they dropped, and now they're dropping a free update, and it's a whole new game mode, like a roguelike or whatever. Like, that should be what Spider-Man 2 did, you feel me? Like, Spider-Man 2 should have dropped in, like, a more complete state, did what it did, and then after like maybe a year and a half or whatever, then they dropped like this big DLC update or whatever, and like that shit could have been gas. Shit could have been really dope, but they didn't. You feel me? Anyways, whatever. Spider-Man 2 is a good game. It's a great game even, but it just did not deserve any of the awards that it was nominated for. And I understand Spider-Man fans are a little upset at that, but you know, it is what it is. It was a tough year. A tough year with a lot of great games that came out this year. So try not to be too upset about it. It's just a game. You don't have to tie your whole personality to the success of a game. As if you like the game, if the game is a 10 out of 10 to you, if it's your game of the year, then what the fuck does it matter what anybody else thinks?